Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we'll showcase our picks for the top 6 free mastering compressor plugins. We'll look at their functionality, describe what they're best for when mastering, and discuss what makes them unique. Additionally, we'll listen to some examples of each, so stick around for the full video. But first, if you're an artist, engineer, or producer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you have to do is set up an account, upload the song, and we can do the rest. Number 6, Compressor 4 by Tone Boosters. Now, I have to admit that although the demo of the Compressor 4 by Tone Boosters is free, it is just that, a demo. However, this demo is of the fully functional plugin without any expiration date, noise generators, audio cutouts, or anything like that. Now, the only caveat is that the plugin won't save your settings when you close and reopen your session. Now, I probably shouldn't tell you this, and you definitely should buy the plugin if you enjoy it and you want to use it on your mixes or masters that you export, but you can bypass this limitation if you save the channel strip settings for your session. Now, normally I wouldn't include a plugin with this type of limitation on one of these lists, but it's such a good plugin that I thought it should be talked about. So with that out of the way, let's look at the plugin's functionality. First off, this plugin has a fantastic and modern looking display similar to the FabFilter designs. In the middle window, you'll notice the waveform as well as a graphic indicating how much compression is occurring. The buttons on the left let you reset the waveform graphic, zoom in on your threshold and ratio settings, and take away the threshold and ratio graphic. In the threshold and ratio graphic, you'll find a slider for the threshold. At the bottom of the plugin are the majority of its functions. This includes a dial for the threshold, which will range from -3 dB to -70 dB, and includes an audition function that allows you to monitor just the attenuation. Next is the ratio, which ranges from 1:1 to 30:1. It includes a complex mode that splits the detected signal into multiple bands. This lets the compressor attenuate in a manner more closely related to human hearing, or the Fletcher-Munson curve. The makeup gain ranges 60 dB and can be made automatic. Your range is the amount of attenuation that can occur under any circumstance. The knee determines if the ratio is gradual or linear, and the hold determines how long attenuation occurs for before the release function kicks in. Your attack ranges from 0.1 milliseconds to 900 milliseconds, and look ahead can be enabled to lower distortion. The release ranges from 10 milliseconds to 900 milliseconds and can be made program dependent. Lastly, you'll notice a wet-dry mix rotary with a bypass button underneath. Now, one of the more unique aspects of this compressor is the assist function, which measures the signal and the amount of compression occurring and adjusts it. Now, this probably isn't the best for mastering, but it's an interesting feature nonetheless. In the window, 3 buttons let you access your sidechain EQ, a zone which pulls up a spectrogram with which you can alter the frequencies being affected, and your metering. One important thing to keep in mind is that this compressor's threshold starts at -3 dB, meaning it may cause more compression than you want for a master. So keep the amount of attenuation in mind and check your ratio and knee settings. Let's take a listen to the plugin. Number 5, Dinosaur by Analog Obsession. We've covered Dinosaur on one of our free plugins lists before, and for good reason. It's a great plugin suited for a lot of different production types. For this list, let's consider why it works so well as a mastering compressor. 5 frequency bands let you control your dynamics in a way most other compressors don't allow. Granted, multiband compression is becoming more and more common. However, free multiband compressors are still pretty rare. Up top is your threshold, with which you can determine when compression begins. The attack ranges from 1 millisecond to 30 milliseconds, and this is true for all bands. The release ranges from 30 milliseconds to 3 seconds, and this also applies to all 5 bands. The ratio ranges from 1:1 to 20:1, meaning you can use subtle compression when mastering. The frequency range varies for each band, with the band farthest to the left being your low end, and the one furthest to the right the high end. Additionally, these bands can overlap, meaning that specific frequencies can be given more attention if needed. Each band has a gain dial with which you can alter the gain of the respective band by 48 dB. Lastly, at the bottom of the plugin, you'll notice a mode selection. Now this can be used to alter the band's detection between RMS and peak. Let's take a listen to the plugin. Number 4, M Saturator by Melda Audio Productions. You might be thinking, why are we talking about a saturator on a list about mastering compressors? Well, saturation is a mixture of harmonic generation and compression. When used correctly and sparingly, a little bit of both can sound great on a master. Although this plugin was designed with mastering in mind, it can easily be used excessively and in a way that's detrimental to the quality of a master. Let's look at the plugin's functionality. Up top is the detection section, where you can affect your input, your output, and the wet-dry mix. From there, you can affect the threshold of the saturation, which when lowered increases the loudness and distortion of the signal. The analog slider introduces even-ordered harmonics and should be kept at a lower level when mastering. The mode function introduces a limiter. When mastering, a soft clip limiter is best. It's also best to disable the clipping option. In the harmonic section, you can control the harmonic gain with both the dial and the individual harmonic order sliders, and it's best to keep these at a low level as well. The compander section compresses the signal before saturation to control the amount of saturation that occurs, and then expands it afterwards to reintroduce dynamics. Now, if you're having difficulty establishing settings for mastering, try some of the presets, which offer a great introduction on how to use this plugin for mastering. Let's take a listen to it. Number 3, OTT by Exford Records. OTT is an incredibly unique multiband compressor that takes into account both downward and upward compression. Now, if you choose to use the OTT compressor on your masters, odds are you're going to be using it for its rare upward compression capabilities. Depth controls how much of the signal is introduced into the compressor. The time dial affects both your attack and release settings, with lower settings being quicker. To the right, you'll notice the input and output gain dials. In the middle of the plugin, you'll notice 3 bars. These represent high, mid, and low frequencies from the top down. The green box represents downward compression. The more that this green box covers the bar, the more the signal will be compressed downward. The same concept is true for the brown box. It represents upward compression. Now you can drag the darker section in the middle to make upward or downward compression more dominant. To the right, you'll notice the H, M, and L knobs, which control the volumes of the high, mid, and low frequency ranges respectively. At the bottom are 2 wet-dry or mixed dials. The one on the left is for upward compression, and the one on the right is for downward compression. You can blend the compressed signals in with the original signal to create the compression and the timbre that you want. Use this compressor subtly. Also, it may be best to leave downward compression for a different compressor, so my recommendation would be to use this plugin solely for the upward compression. Let's take a listen to it. Number 2, Enhancer by Tone Booster. Although this plugin looks a little bit different than most compressors and behaves a bit differently, this is in fact an upward compressor. By leaving the loud aspects of the mix alone and amplifying the quieter harmonics and subharmonics, you lessen the dynamic range of the low-level signals while simultaneously amplifying them. And the majority of the functions that you'll need to know are in the main window. The band with the band-like symbol above it is called the analysis or enhancement band. The low, mid, and high frequencies each have one. The bands with the bar-like symbol are harmonic generators. You can increase harmonic generation and compression by increasing the height of these bands. Now it should be noted that the low frequency range has both a sub and a supra-harmonic generator. Drag the enhancement bands around to select the frequency range that you want to affect, and drag the harmonic synthesis bands to determine the frequency range of the generated harmonics. Now, if you want to affect all of these bands at once, you can drag a box around them and select them all simultaneously. At the bottom, you can affect the wet-dry of your bass, mid, and treble enhancement bands, as well as solo them. The mix style is a wet-dry for the entire plugin. Width determines the stereo width of the harmonics, while range affects the amount of compression that's occurring. You can alter the timbre of the compression with 5 different settings, and then blend that timbre back in. To the right is a gain rotary. To make things a little simpler, know that on the enhancement bands is where actual upward compression is occurring. By dragging these bands upward, you're increasing the amplitude of the upward compressed signal. By altering the rotaries associated with these bands, you're reducing the amount of compression. Let's take a listen to it. Number 1, Kotelnikov by Tokyo Dawn Labs. Compared to some of the other plugins on this list, Kotelnikov is a pretty straightforward mastering compressor. If you're looking for a compressor with more familiar features, this is a fantastic option. Now, starting on the far left of the plugin, we have some control over how the compressor detects the incoming signal. We can affect the frequency range with the low frequency relax section and the stereo image with the stereo sensitivity section. By making the stereo sensitivity 0, you'll only compress the mid channel. Up top is your threshold, which compresses based on RMS or the average loudness of the signal, not its peak. However, you can use the peak crest dial to hone in on where the peak attenuation begins. The soft knee setting and ratio are pretty typical and similar to other compressors. The attack can be an incredibly quick 0.02 milliseconds, whereas the release is broken up into two settings, peak and RMS release. You'll notice a gain reduction meter in the middle right of the plugin, which can have its range altered. Above it, the precise mode is the best option when you're mastering, whereas the eco mode is not the best option. On the right are your makeup gain and dry mix dials. Below these are the output gain and the bypass button. Additionally, the delta button allows you to hear just the compression that's occurring. If you want to learn more about this plugin, the question mark icon turns on info pop-ups that provide a lot of insight. Let's take a listen to the plugin. So these are our picks for the top 6 free mastering compressor plugins, but what do you think? Is there a mastering compressor that you use, but we didn't mention it here? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you're an artist or an engineer, send us one of your mixes at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. All you have to do is set up this account, upload the song, and we'll do the rest. But thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends. This way we know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week, and subscribing is the best way to stay up to date. There's a comment section where you can leave your thoughts on this video or make a suggestion for a future video. And again, if you're an artist or an engineer and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.